My name is Morris Andati. I hope this day, morning or evening, depending on the time that you're listening to this or watching this specific podcast, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And this is the Lab Podcast, where we'll be discussing different avenues, different discussions, specifically when it comes to different topics that focus majorly in helping us in terms of development and moving forward. And today, one of the key areas or one of the key topics that I really want us to discuss on is on aspects of accountability. And this is one of the areas that I think we have been looking. You guys have been looking online. You've been seeing the different areas and avenues, specifically things that are bring up very big problems today in society. I'll give an example. We're talking about Kanye West and the issues to do with anti-Semitic issues. We are looking at the LGBT community when it comes to the rights and all that. We're looking at different individuals who are, number one, getting themselves into problems either by what they've said or what they do, or number two, looking at aspect where the society itself has put the society itself has put itself in a quagmire where every single time every single person says something, there is a little bit of a backlash or a little bit of a problem, which brings an aspect where, number one, I think one of the key things that we have been discussing in the world today is aspect of free speech, aspect of being having the freedom to share what you can discuss and what you can say, having an opinion of specific things. However, the society looking at it as it is only an opinion. It is not that it is fact or it is something that really proves your character or something of the sort. And through seeing these specific issues coming up, not only even in the first world countries, even here in Africa, you can see there's a little bit of issues that are coming up when it comes to feminism and all this. And this is why, for me, I think I really wanted to have a discussion specifically as we start on accountability, the different aspects of accountability, looking at accountability and what are the different aspects that bring out accountability, either if it is at the workspace, if it is you as an individual being accountable to you as yourself, you yourself, then you being accountable to the people who are closer to you, you being accountable to the family that you are in, you being in a specific group of people. How do you bring out aspects of accountability as an individual? Not only just being part of that group, but as an individual, will you be accountable for, number one, your activities? Will you be accountable for, number two, the activities of those specific group? Because there is one thing that we can never run away from, and that is, as much as we are trying to run away from things to do with identity politics, I don't know, for me, it's not something that is really brings out the core of individualism. Because if I am running just because I am really focused because I am in part of this specific group, it brings out a little bit of distortion when it comes to reality. Because for me as an individual, as much as I am a man and I'm in a group of men, I have actions or activities, I have characters, and I have all this that are solemnly mine, that are not aligned to each and every individual who is in that specific group. And sometimes this group might do something wrong, and that doesn't mean that I am also part of it. And these are the aspects or things that I really hit my head, and I really wish if maybe today we can discuss. You can hear from maybe whatever I have from my head, and also through maybe the discussion that we're going to be having after this podcast, and also after this video. Then through through you, whatever you're going to be sharing as reviews and also as comments, then we can see where do we stand and where do we stand, and where are we moving as a society. Because for me, I feel there's a little bit of a darkness that no one is seeing far from the nose. We're just seeing very close. That's why it is easier for us to jump into number one if this train is moving towards canceling someone or having a negative attitude towards a specific person, just because these specific individuals may be aligned to whatever you are saying. You can also find yourself in that bandwagon moving towards it. And one of, I think, before we can even go further, maybe one of the things that we need also to discuss, we need to maybe put in place is number one, what is accountability, and that is looking into what does accountability mean as you as an individual at the workplace and every single place. And when we look at accountability, number one is looking at aspect of responsibility. So if you are responsible for number one, every specific action that you do. If you wake up in the morning and go and fight someone like Mike Tyson and he beats you up, definitely that's the consequence of whatever you have done. So you have to be accountable for that, because you cannot come and say, oh, he beat me, and you're the first person who threw the first punch. So where do we draw also the line where we say that okay, as much as one thing has maybe happened to me, I also need to be accountable for maybe half of the consequences of whatever has happened to me. And you cannot remove aspects of accountability if you're not talking about responsibility, because so many people want to move away from being responsible for you yourself as an individual. First of all, I wake up early in the morning. I do my work every single time. I wake up and do my work and check off things in the checklist. I am making myself uh, accountable for every specific action that is going to move towards my success in life. And there is no way that I am going to be sleeping every single time, then wake up early in the morning, then maybe an opportunity passed me, then I'm going to complain that I didn't get that specific opportunity either because of my gender, or because of the color of my skin, or because of maybe the person who got the person who got that specific opportunity doesn't like me, or hates me in one way or another. So you can see, either you work for it, or you really, or if you work for it, then you're going to get. You might not get fully whatever you want, but definitely there is going to be a percentage of whatever you are working towards. You are working towards getting, and that brings out, I'll be responsible for those specific actions. So if I do something, or I'm working towards a specific goal, or I'm working on a specific business, and they've already told me, okay, when you come to work for us, these are the regulations. Number one, the first regulation is do not call people stupid. Do not work in the office naked. Do not come to the office maybe in t-shirts. Come to the office in polo shirts. Do not come with sneakers at work. Come with official shoes. Then I come with sneakers and a polo shirt or a t-shirt. Then they chase me. Then I start complaining. Oh, you see, they're chasing us away because they don't want to be more modern and every single thing. You see, at that moment, I really need to be responsible. I need also to be accountable for the action that I've done, because I signed a contract saying that number one, two, or three, four things should be done. This one should not be done. As much as it does not look black and white that way, every single activity you do, there is a responsibility that comes out of it, and you need also to be you need to be responsible for that specific for that specific consequence that has come. And when we look at different areas, because accountability and responsibility also comes with issues to do with trust, because now I'll build trust with you when I see you are accountable for every specific action you do. If you be, I know this is going to be a little bit of controversial. If you are a woman and you go and find a guy, as much as they have maybe pissed you off, and you beat them and they beat you back, don't you feel that the responsibility came, it should not be for him to put his hands on the bottom. You should have looked for an amicable way for you to solve that specific problem. And I think this is one of the areas that I always feel that we have been blinded so much on some societal things that we forget that the aspect of responsibility, the aspect of accountability, uh, the aspect of all these things, specifically when it comes to these different actions that we do. And I think one of the consequences that we can say when people are not being taken accountable for, and I know also this is going to be a little bit of controversial when you're looking at the feminist movement, when looking at the Me Too movement. It reached whatever it started and whatever it was going the right direction. But it reached a point where we started to move away from also these other individuals taking accountability for number one, whatever they were doing, number two, where they were, number three, what were the steps that were made towards them getting themselves into specific scenarios. Also, another thing is when it removed the aspect of accountability, then it brought out the aspect of believe all women, believe, and for me, I always say believe. You cannot believe every single person. We have psychopaths in everywhere. We have LGBTQ in the LGBTQ society. We have psychopaths. Men, we have psychopaths. Women, we have psychopaths. Every single place, psychopaths. We cannot just believe every single person. And when accountability is not there, then we remove aspects of to do with the due process. How do we come to a specific conclusion? We come to a specific conclusion based on due process. Due process is like when you're doing a research to get the medicine for malaria. There was process that was being made. They maybe they got the antiviral or they got or the medicine. It needed to be taken through a specific process. It needed to be given the thumbs up. It needed to go to be tested to animal, then tested to all these things. Then it moved. Now it came to our shelf because it has gone through the due process for it to be accepted as a drug into the society, which means every single activities and every single thing needs to have due process, because now whatever that brings, number one, it also brings trust, because now number one, people will trust the system that has brought that what do you call the outcome, the last outcome that has been done. Number two, people will trust also the people or individuals who are in that specific group. Then number three, when it comes to accountability and responsibility, also removes now individuals from groups, where will not be that all men are this way because one person did it. As much as even 100 people do it, it doesn't mean 1,000 of them did. You see, just as much as 100 people do it doesn't mean that now that is a character when it comes to that specific group. Now bring me to the aspects of what do we call identity politics. And you can see how it is all of these are intertwined and all are intertwined and all that. I'll give another example. Right now, I cannot go to, maybe let me give you an example. I'm in Kenya and I'm in Nairobi. I'm not going to go downtown when I've worn gold chains and I have golden rings and I am walking lavishly and I have maybe 70,000 Jordans and I have all this and I'm walking down the street. Definitely, I'm going to be mugged, whether I like it or not. And this is just an aspect of you can read the environment, you can see, and you'll be like, I am not going to do this specific action because I know this is the repercussion that is going to happen. And when this repercussion happens, then I should also stand trial and say, as much as they stole my items and every single thing, I also created an environment where this was made possible. Now bring out the aspect of now um, taking ownership and having the ownership of their responsibility of their consequence, of the consequence that comes out of that. Because in every practice that you do, there is always a result. And when you agree on that specific result, now that now differentiates you from from different people. And I think with this, I will quote one person. I think I watched a video for a friend, one person that, as much as is also a little bit controversial, I not accepted everything that he says, but I also accept so much that he says and rotate. He says, the goodness is for me as a man and for me as an individual who is born male. I come in clean slate. I come with a clean slate where every single action and activities that I am going to do, the result that is going to the result that is going to come, I have to own it. And if I do not own it, I cannot move to the next step. If I come, which means if I want to be Morris Andati, the trainer, the what do you call, the trainer, the expert on human trafficking, the expert on sustainable development, the podcaster, whatever I want to do, if I want to do this, I really need to work toward this specific thing. I need to have skills specifically when it comes to training. I need to have skills specifically when it comes to development and sustainable development. I need to understand policy. I need to understand community development. I need to understand how we move words from paper to reality. I really need to know how to do feasibility studies. If I want to know to be an expert in human trafficking, I need to understand which are the avenues, which are the venues, who are the specific people, who are the target group, how, where, sorry about that, where is this thing being done? Where is the market? Who is creating the demand? Who is creating the supply? I really need to understand this. Where are these people? What are the consequences? Why is the reason why this is the specific market or the supply chain that has been chosen specifically under its aspects of human? I really need to understand all that for me to call myself or move to a space where when someone calls me for a meeting or someone calls me for a forum, I can speak and discuss something of it. Number three, for also me to have and be also excellent in all these specific areas, I also need to push aside other things that I also need to do and create avenues where this aspect of what do you call, where these opportunities can bring themselves, I can take, and I can also take advantage of it. Because for me, I do understand one thing. Me being born male doesn't mean that every single opportunity is going to come to me. It means I also need to work and fight for it. And number one, I'm not only fighting myself. I'm not only fighting myself to stand there and also be strong. I'm also fighting my friend who's also a man. I'm also fighting my friend who's also a woman. I'm also fighting the older people who are also in that specific system who don't also want to live. I'm also fighting the society or the system itself that is also pushing specific agendas and everything towards me so that I cannot be on that specific place. I won't sit down and complain and say, oh, you see, because when I complain and sit down and complain every single minute and hour that I am going to pass, then it means someone else is taking the opportunity to use it and make themselves better in that specific system. So if I fail, I really need to own it and take the ownership of the failure and all that. So we really need to understand and also picture this kind this kind of avenues and this kind of things, so that now it is easier for us to say, okay, I am going to take ownership as much as this has been done. I am not saying that every single person, every single individual, and every single activity that people do is the right activity or is the best is the best solution that they would have taken and they would have made. No. I am not saying that. But whatever I'm saying is, if today Morris Andati goes, and I do knock Mike Tyson on his mouth, and I'll get beaten to a pulp, I also need to accept that I put myself in that specific position, and I put myself in a position where someone else could back me up. And if I wouldn't have done that, well, I would have looked for an amicable way to solve that specific solution. Then would have given different results. So I think when we were talking about taking responsibility for every single activity that you do, and as I explained earlier, when I go and hit Mike Tyson and he hits me back, I also really need to take responsibility out of it. Then after all these things, talking about accountability, it is very important for you to have a very clear definition, specifically when it comes to what success is to you. I'll give an example. For me to become a CEO in a specific company, I do understand one thing. There's some specific, number one, I need to sacrifice some things. Number one, I need to sacrifice time. Number two, I need to sacrifice in my education, looking at, I need to look into a specific area of education that I really need to do because of that specific company or that specific thing that I really want to become the CEO or the CEO of. If it is my own company, if it is another person's company, I really need to have a clear, I need to know that I need skills, which are the specific skills that are needed for me to reach that specific point. And number three, I also need to understand that not every single person is going to sleep and also be happy that I am succeeding in this specific area, because it is a competition. We also need to understand it is a competition, not only from me, but also from other people who really want to be the same CEO. So there's going to be a competition. We are going to have people are going to blame me for things. People are going to take advantage of specific avenues. People are going to Everyone is going to use whatever advantage they specifically have in that specific area for them to succeed in that specific area. So I really need to know, number one, I'm going to fight with my friend to get this specific position who is male. I'm going to fight with my friend who is female. I'm going to fight with anyone who really wants to be on that specific position. I'm not saying fighting with blows. I know people say say fighting. No, it is making sure that you get whatever you really want so that it can create the opportunity for you to be that specific person or to get that specific opportunity. And number four, things are not going to be very smooth. I'm going to succeed in some areas. I'm going to fail. I'm going to be a failure in one way or another. And I also need to also accept all these things, because this is what builds towards you achieving this specific area. It has nothing to do with me being a male or me or someone else being a female or someone else being no. We really need to understand, because with that, then it is easier for me to be accountable for every single action that I'm doing, because I know for everything I need to be very careful with every single action I do, because my aim is to reach this specific point, or to succeed in this specific area, or to succeed in this specific avenue. So if I have these things defined and I know this is the reality and this is what is going to do, I'm not expecting the system to be a little bit lenient for me. I'm expecting that as much as it is going to be tough, it is going to make me better for the next step. So making it a little bit better for me. So you need also to have a very clear definition of what is success to you and what are the parameters specifically for you to being success. Not just saying that I want to be a CEO and why am I not being told I need to be a CEO. No. These people who are in this specific area, number one, those who are already there are not ready also to leave. You see? So I also need to create an avenue where the person who is recruiting a new CEO should understand why it is very important for me to take that specific position and the other person not to take that specific position. And this breaks out the aspect of identity politics. We break off away from identity politics, where now we have individualism. Every specific individual stands on their own. It does every specific activity that they do. There is the consequences that come. The consequences do not come specifically for a specific group of people, but for them as individuals. Because for every specific area, as I said earlier, for every specific area, that those who are bad, that those who are good, that those who are uh, ready to do bad things or good things, and everything in every single way. So understanding and defining your success very well, and looking at what are the specific parameters that bring you to that specific position. And number two, each and every specific activity, even if you're moving towards that specific success, sometimes the consequences is you might not have a family, or the family might come a little bit late, and all these things. So what are the sacrifices that you are going to make specifically for you to achieve this specific area? That's why let's say there's a reason why there are specific men who are these CEOs and then these big people. It's not just because they have genitals of men, but it is because for them they have understood these specific parameters and they have taken advantage of those specific parameters. They've been in school for a very long time. They have been learning every single time. As much as maybe they dropped out of school, but as they're outside, they're still learning, still building the specific skills. They wake up from morning until evening. They are really busy every single time. So they have taken accountability for them squeezing their time for them to be in these specific positions because they have already understood when I get to this specific position and have worked all this is the success rate that I'm going to have. And you find not so many people in the world are ready to do that. And for me, that becomes a little bit of of a problem because now number one we'll have a system where it is not based on merit, it is based on okay, this person is a representative of this specific group of people, so they really need to have really need to get into this specific space just because they are a representative of this specific group of people. It is not that they have merit, they have been given the same opportunity, and when they were given the specific same of opportunity, for them the benefit is they have one or two or three or four skills that when they they put it in this specific position or this specific business, or there's some sacrifice that they are ready to do, so that when they put themselves in the position that everyone wants, then it is easier for them to succeed, or this is the type of person that we really want in in this specific position that is going to benefit the company in one way or another. I always tell people it is a company, definitely they will start with what um, what they view as a success, them as an individual, rather than looking at other individuals. Yeah, it's a company, it's a business, it's maximizing profits, and we maximize profit by someone maybe will take, they'll go extra time without complaining. They'll do as much work, get the same salary, but do the same work. So a little bit of sacrifice in one way or another. So as we're talking about accountability, we need also to discuss about aspect of sacrifice because sacrifice also plays also a very huge role, very huge role on that. So it is not that oh uh, this person is in this position because maybe they had one or two or three or four things and blah blah blah. Number two, another thing that also here maybe from people from my own generation, also the new generation, I think Gen Z is, oh, you see, trauma was carried from our fathers, and our mother carried the trauma and gave it to us. We were this and this was being done, we were being beaten, we were doing every single thing. And for me, I think one of the discussions that I've been having with my friend is, I won't lie, if my mother didn't spank me or my father didn't spank me seriously, I wouldn't be here where I am right now. I wouldn't be the better person. And I've seen that not in my family, not only in my family, but this is one thing that is in Africa, the bond of family. And we do not take it that this person was being punished when they were young. Now they're punishing us to in order for them to feel well, or they're punishing us just because they were punished so that we can also feel the way they feel. No, 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 no. It is maybe I was being spanked because I did a mistake, and I'm not going to do that mistake ever again because I know the consequences of me doing that is I'm going to be spanked, or not even. I used to whip very seriously, and it's that you made a mistake, there was consequences of making that specific mistake. You sit down, you're like, after you've already been spanked, you go and sit down, you'll be like, yeah, 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 if I wouldn't have run away from the home and go drink with my friends, maybe the consequence will be I will have gotten an accident or every single thing, or But the reality of the matter, yes, as much as did happen, I was punked. So next time I won't do that. And for me, I will tell you, it has really shaped. My behavior, and knowing the consequences of every single thing based on what you do. And they didn't beat everyone. It was only me who was punked. And I also came to understand that for every action that I do, there is always a consequence, and the consequence is not going to come to every single person. It's only going to come to me. So if I run away from home and I run away with my friends, when I come back home, it's me who's going to be punished. It is not my friends who are going to be punished. And I came also to understand the individuality. Every single individual has different consequences, especially when it comes to different activities that they do. And when when I came to understand that, it really helped, and it really developed. As much, I'm not also saying that someone who comes from somewhere, they're very angry, they start beating you and all that, is also not really good. But sometimes, as I had said earlier, due process. Why? What was the reason why? What happened? As I said, I do not go to Mike Tyson and try to fight with him. He's going to beat me up. I'm not going to talk back to my mother, or my father. Then I do not expect there is consequence out of that, because the next time I'm going to do is I'm going to meet someone outside. Then I'm going to speak to them the same way. Then when I speak to them the same way, I'm going to be beaten up. Then I'm going to rally up around my friends and say, oh no, you see, now we do not have the freedom of saying anything, and all this and all that. But you can see it's a consequence. You have not been uh, something has not been done to you very well. Maybe you are not punished, so something didn't come. So for me, it is like, I am not saying that yes, that those who have carried it to the next generation, that is something that has happened in a couple of generations. But one thing that I always stand and always say is, for every action I do, it is me as an individual. It is no one whispered in my ear, no one said any single thing. It is me as an individual knowing that I did that. And it brings me to the next thing that we also need to discuss: knowing your role. What is your role in life? What is your role in every single consequence that you get uh, everywhere? What is the role? I went to school, I dropped out of school. That job that I don't get, those are the consequences. I played a role in it. I did not get my certificate. That's why I'm not getting this. I played a huge role in it. And when I played a huge role in it, it means I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to work extra hard, build my own thing, so that next time I'm going to get someone who has been educated and got the degree, then I'm going to put them as the CEO. Then when I'll be sitting with my children, I'll be like, go to school. You see the CEO. As much as, yes, I build. And another thing that I will tell them is, out of 100 people who dropped out of school, only 10 of them are the ones who are successful and build their businesses and build every single thing. So every single thing has its own consequence in different areas. That's why I say, as an individual, I came to understand that we can run away, all of us, but the consequence is going to come to me as an individual. And I build and I learned. And I was not like, oh, this generation doing this to us and this to me. I was like, no, I made that specific choice. I ran away, I went drunk, I smoked, I did every single thing. The punishment was just because if I did that and something wrong happened to me, I'll be the same person who's going to complain, or my friends or the family members are still the ones who are going to tell my mother and father, oh, you did not raise him well, you not raise him every single time, you not do every blah, 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 blah. Then when I grow up and I become big, then I'll also start complaining, oh, you see, you would have told me, you would have done this, you would have, even if you would have punished me, it would have been okay. So I take responsibility. It is not moving that it is something that uh, we are gaining, or we are being punished, or the world is against you. It is punishing every single person. No, 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 no. It is, what are you doing about it? If you're sleeping at home and on Twitter and typing on Facebook saying how this person did it, did so bad. My question is always, what about you? Have you done every single thing very well? Is it that people are void of making mistakes? Because another thing that I also I've come also to understand is from accountability, and also is also realism, being in the real world, and the real world is people make mistakes, and if every single person was cancelled just because of a mistake they did, I think no one will be here. Yeah, no one. People, we have said so many bad things. We have said that culture-wise, also we have also made a lot of mistakes, and if we do not understand the role that you have played based on whatever is happening until the consequences that have come, then it's a very big problem. It's a very big problem. So there's a little bit of an issue. I also say, even when it comes to student loan, it is a system that was built even here in Africa. We have students in Kenya. We have something called HELB, Higher Education Loans Board, and it gives people loans, the students loans, and they have to pay. And when I was about to apply for my own help, my father asked me, "Are you serious? Do you want to apply for this? Then you have to pay for all these years, or can I, for me as a father, I'm ready. Can I just sell this land and everything? Then you pay, but please tell me one thing: if I'm going to do that and that sacrifice that I'm going to do, I'm going to get something out of it." Though I disappointed a little bit. Sorry, but I could see right now I do not have any loans. I do not have every single thing. It is, if you didn't get the loan, then you wouldn't have gotten the education that you have. You see, you wouldn't have gotten the education that you have. You wouldn't have been in the space of where you can learn and you can build something different, because there's some things that you can build that another person who didn't go to school can. So looking at also the positive in every single thing that in every single negative thing that you feel is really hitting you in a different way. So knowing the role that you play specifically to every single consequence of life that you do, you see. And another thing that also I really cry is letting other people take responsibility of whatever you have become now, then you complain later. That's why I also have the issue of giving children a little bit of medicine for them to change their gender, blah blah blah. I know it is a little bit of a controversial thing, but for me, I feel it is quite important for them to grow up so that now they can make these specific choices for themselves. Because I've seen a couple of friends, I've seen a couple who have done that, and they've grown. They're like, she shouldn't, my parents will have done that, because now you see I'm losing a lot of hair, blah blah blah, and these are the consequences, because they did not consult me. Another thing that I always say, it is double standard, because if someone gives out their own opinion on a specific topic, they always say, why have you not consulted us? Then when we say, okay, can this person grow up, then now it is for them to take the choice and every single thing. They're like, no, 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 you just do it. So I'm like, where does the consultation come? Does the consultation only come when you have the voice to make a lot of noise, or does is it built from you having the means and the way to be accountable and know the role that you played for that specific consequence to consequence to happen. So those are the areas that I'm also looking into specifically when it comes to accountability and all that. Then lastly, not lastly, another thing that also needs to discuss is the aspect of honesty. And the aspect of honesty only comes in specifically when you are ready to say, I am accountable for every single activity or every single thing that has really, really, really happened. I think another area that we were also discussing, and which is really key, is number one, being honest. And being honest is not looking into being honest also to other people. It's also being honest to you as an individual and as a person, because um, being honest with yourself means there are some opportunities that you really won't focus on and really follow up, because you know maybe you have issues of procrastination and all that, and there's a little bit of an issue. You know, these are the specific areas that I can do very well, these are the specific areas that I cannot do very well. And when you become honest with yourself, then it means whatever opportunities or whatever things you take is based on what the specific area that you want to go. And sometimes being honest with yourself uh, really hits you maybe in a very bad way, or in a negative way, because you might want, they always say, or there's something I always say, you might want to own a private jet, but honestly, from the area and the environment that you're going to have, it's you just have to own maybe a Bugatti or something of the sort. You see? So being honest, so you will work towards a specific goal, and being honest with yourself helps you very well to understand at what time does your pride come up, at what time does is it time, at what time do you have to admit that you have been wrong, and the way you took maybe, and the direction that you took specifically when it comes to a specific activity or an action, you didn't take it very well. And when you do that, then it really helps you, because now at that moment, now you're starting to take accountability for every specific action for every specific action that you take. Then another thing for being honesty is also time, and time is also something that is really a key factor. And I always tell people, um, for me as a man, I'm really happy because I do really have time. I can work. I will sacrifice half of my life, work extra hard, make sure that I make that specific money, and become the CEO and go through all ups and downs, because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and that's just the reality of the matter. And I know it's not going to be easy. By the time I'm reaching 27, I'm still learning. I'm still building. I'm still looking. There is one thing that we always tell ourselves: you are still digging holes. You haven't found one specific hole where now you can dig very well. Even if you find that one specific hole that you're digging yourself, you are still learning. You're still moving. If you already started your business very early. Let's tell people an example. For me, I started when I think I was in my third year when I started my organization, and until now, I'm still learning new things. I'm still trying to. There's something that are also still very difficult for me to do, and I'm still learning and building myself step by step. And that is the aspect of time. And time, for me, I always say time is the only real thing. Time will say if you said the truth or if you lied. Time will tell if you uh, learned the skill very well or you didn't. Time will tell if uh, you are genuine or not. It always tells, and using that time very well helps you, number one, build yourself for whatever you want. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're a man, if you're a woman, and in every way. And also remember, time will also make you accountable for what you have sacrificed for and what you really want. You see, I cannot sacrifice every single thing in my life and expect maybe until I sacrifice every single thing until I reach my age of 70 and expect that I'm going to have grandchildren. No, that's a lie. You see, for a woman, you cannot sacrifice every single thing until you reach 40, 50, then expect to get pregnant and everything is going to be okay. There are going to be complications either to the child, especially when it comes to mental health and all of that. And we all learn. We always say it is really good for you to get a child when you're a little bit younger, when the cells are a little bit old, because it really helps in terms of cognitive development. And I do not expect that when I reach that specific age and I got a woman who is also that specific age, you're going to get a very smart and brilliant young man. There's going to be a little bit of an issue. So time will also make you accountable for every single thing that you have done when it comes to you taking advantage of other people in terms of opportunities, when it comes to you sacrificing every single thing for you to make yourself great and bigger in society, when it comes to every single thing. As much as I can build myself and I can convince myself that I am really moving forward very well, and at the back of my mind, I understand time is not on my time is not being wasted just for me, or it is waiting for only me. When I reach a point, things are not going to go very well. So it is for you to understand all that. Then, as you're moving towards time and you're moving towards making sure that you account for every single time, this is something that I learned this year, and I learned this year in a hard way. And this is something called do not overcommit and do not overpromise. And you making sure that you do not overcommit on something, because there is always something that is going to fall through the crack, whether you like it or not. Remember when I said at first that I came to understand myself, especially me for me as an individual, and I accepted that every single thing that I get into, I always plan that I might not get 100% of it. I might get only 20%. So that when I get 70% of it, I come to really appreciate the 50%. So, and it makes me do not overcommit, because I'm like, no, I cannot do every single thing. I'll do a little bit of thing. And now another thing is also when you are with other people and you are working towards a specific program or project with other people, do not do every single thing. Do a couple of things, because every single person has their own place where they need to cover this, they need to cover this, because when the time for accountability is going to come, it is easier for you to say, okay, I was supposed to do only 3 things. I've already done the 3 things. Yes, the project needs 100 things. And for me, whatever I was supposed to do is only 3 things, based on number one, my skills, based on my knowledge, based on my time, and based on every single thing. I was able to make sure that I have worked out that, and I've made sure. And for me, I think for this year, this is a year that I have come also to learn so much from it. So many things didn't go as planned, and I came to understand, okay, when you sit down and reflect, you're like, I overcommitted here, I promised something here, and I didn't know that tomorrow there's something here that is going to come. And when this thing comes, maybe it disrupts whatever you had promised, breaking a little bit of ties with the person that you had promised to, or you had overcommitted to. So bring out an aspect where do not overcommit, do not be a yes person. Sometimes learn to say no, and it really helps. It also gives you peace of mind. No, it cannot be done. You want to sleep with me in the office? No, 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 no. I have no fear of starting of starting afresh. I think another thing that also people sometimes get themselves into a couple of issues is you not accepting that you can start from fresh. People start from fresh, and they build and they come up, and they move forward. There's some people who have built their businesses, it has failed. Then they sat on the other side and woke up and made sure they were like, okay, what was the role that I played towards us failing and reaching this specific point? What was I supposed to do? I was supposed to do one or two, three. Then I've gotten the one, two, three that I was supposed to do. I've changed a little bit of it. Then now I am moving. Then now I am moving forward. I am changing. I'm looking at what were the specific things that were a problem. Now I've moved. I've put it here now. Let's move, and let's move towards that specific thing. And that is, I think, one thing that Wallace said, and also Jordan Peterson says, is sometimes you need to be a lion, you need to be the wildebeest, the lion in the wild. You need to be that lion, then learn how to tame that lion in one way or another. Because a lion, when it does not succeed, it doesn't give up. It comes back, sits down, looks okay. I need to get another one. It goes, gets, it goes, it gets. You see, so it is for you to know, okay, I need to get this specific opportunity. I'm going to try. If it fails, okay. Uh, Based on me understanding myself, this is an area that I think I can do. I can do very well. Let me do it. Let me go. Let me go and achieve it. Let me go work for it. If it doesn't work, you pick up yourself and you're like, okay, what next? What should I do? What have I learned? What are the lessons that I've learned from this? Let me move forward. Let me build. Let me build this, rather than sitting there and complaining and saying, "Oh, you see, we are Africans, or we were what do you call? We were colonized and all this now." No, it was 100 years ago. Right now, we are young people. We have technology. We have all these things. What are you doing so that you can make sure that you remove your family from where it is? Sometimes it is not about them, or it is sometimes it's just us as individuals who are not trying to take advantage. It is us looking at, oh, okay, I want this specific thing, I want to achieve it. Just because I may be an African or a black, I need, this needs to be guaranteed to me so that I can move now, building and um, what do you call, building a society and a generation of people who think they have the right to get something or this other thing. And for me, I always say, when I was born as Maurice Andati, and I was born afresh, and I started to live as a man, I, as much as where my father had built and reached, the only thing my father would have done or my mother would have done is look at the opportunities based on their brackets and make those opportunities available for me. Then it is for me now to take over from those specific opportunities that I've given. They'll make sure that I go to school, because for them, when they were growing up, school was something that was very important. So I'll take, I've gone to school, I've learned how I can communicate with other people, and every single thing. They've introduced me to their friends who are in this specific business environment, and they, every specific bracket, the further they can, the furthest they can do is introduce you to opportunities that is visible to them. And it is now for you as an individual to take it up and make sure that you can run with those specific opportunities. And for me, I learned that. I have a son, and I tell you, I have a son whom every single time I look at, and I'm like, you'll take that opportunity. I have a young sister. I was a lady. I tell her, you take advantage of these specific opportunities. No one is going to hire you. Please do not sit down and complain. Oh, you're a lady, you're a woman. No, 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 no. Do it, so that when you have a daughter, you tell them, I did it. I did not wait for a group of people to go on the streets and make a lot of noise for them, for me to get this specific opportunity. It was not because people made noise, it is because I took advantage of the opportunities based on the bracket that I could be offered, and this is what I built from it. It worked, it didn't work. This is what worked, this is what didn't work. Someone took advantage of me here, someone didn't take advantage of me here. Not every single person is a bad person. There's some people who are really good people. Then it breaks you out from this what do you call, the slave, from, let's say, it is a slave mentality, that every single thing has to go towards you and what you really want to achieve. No, 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 that's a little bit of a problem. And I think to conclude our discussion today, and I really hope it has really helped you, is making changes. Making changes for you as an individual, making changes to people who are closer to you, making changes to every single person that is around you, because not every single person is 100% perfect. And that is something that I always tell people. Let no one lie to you that you're 100% of, because you're born a man, you're 100%, because you're born a woman, you're 100%. Don't let nobody say, or do not ever stand in front of people and just say everything I said, believe me. Where we live in a world where people lie, and people tend to look for ways in which they can build themselves and also take advantage of themselves. For me, I grew up in the society. I know someone can take advantage of me. Even my friend who is closer to me can take advantage of me, and that makes me look at the world in a different perspective, where I know now it is I really need to build. It is me, my family, my children, and whoever is really close to me. How do we take opportunities that come close to us, and how do we move forward? If you make a mistake, you say I made a mistake. If you do something that is a little bit shitty, and there is consequences of whatever you've done that is shitty, you take advantage. You make changes according to that. If what do you call, if there are specific clothes that are to be worn in a specific area, and you wear it in this other specific area, and there are consequences that come out of it, take it. Say, okay, I'm really sorry, I was not supposed to do this. As much as this was done, which was not really good, but I also played a really big role specifically for us to reach this specific point, and I'm going to make a changes. As this person is also being punished, you're also looking inside and say, I'm going to make this specific changes, so that next time when someone is doing it to you, when you have not made yourself you have not made yourself to be in an area where someone can take advantage of you, it is easier now for you to say, yeah, that was something that was done to me, and it was not right. So I really want to thank every single person that has joined us. Please go to our social media platforms based on what you have shared. The Lab podcast that is on all audio podcast platforms. We have also YouTube under Smart Talk Cafe, the Lab podcast. You will find the video of this specific podcast. Share, talk to us, tell us, what do you feel, what do you think about this specific topic when it comes to accountability, when it comes to responsibility, and developing yourself as individuals. Also follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, follow us on all social media. Twitter, we are also in Twitter. We'll be also getting into other platforms where we can also be sharing our thoughts, so that we can have this conversation among ourselves, so that we can see where are we moving, what is the direction that we are moving, where do we want to be in the next couple of years, or the next generation. What do you want to tell the next generation, so that they can move forward and become better people in the society. So I want to thank every single person who joined us today. I really hope that you have learned one or two or three things. I have been Maurice Andati, who have been hosting this. Thank you so much. You can follow me in LinkedIn and all that, so that we can continue this conversation. And let's meet next time to have this candid conversation. Thank you for joining us, and have an awesome morning, evening, based on where you're coming from. Yeah, I should focus on that. Based on where you're coming from, and kudos.